Please stand for pledge allegiance. Led by Marilyn Carnieri.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The mayor is unable to attend tonight's meeting. He is rehabbing his knees that were just operated on. After how many years, Marilyn?
God, another 10 years ago.
So he's asked me to fill in for him. I'm happy and proud to do it. Once again, safety message, if you need to, if there's a fire or alarm goes off, everybody please exit out the rear and go into the parking lot and wait there for emergency vehicles. And again, there's no smoking in the building. You can go outside on the steps there. Madam Clerk.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Just one approval of the February 25th, 2013 board meeting minutes.
Motion to approve. Motion. Second.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Hilton. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Treasurer Crossing.
Good evening. I'm going to be brief. I have another engagement to go to, so we'll do the bills first. The bills for the period of February 26th through the 11th of March total $289,746.74. The five largest of those, number one was Lifer at $15,343.37. Second one was Russell Reed from sludge removal, $12,861.11. Eastern Resource landfill charges, $12,646.93. Egan and Golden attorneys, $11,858.33. That's for 2 months, January and February. Global Monticello, $11,088.63 for diesel fuel. They total $63,798.37. If I could have approval.
Motion to approve. Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Approved.
I do have, on the second page, you have transfers again. We're cleaning up the year. Those are just to clean up accounts. So if I can have approval to do those.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
It's attached to this sheet.
You try to back.
Seconded by Trustee Hilton. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Thank you. And you do have in front of you, for your information, the cash balances as of February 28th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Ron.
good evening.
Thank you. Can I have any public hearings? No public hearings? Okay, Dennis Smith is not here tonight, so have our chamber report. Gail Holt.
Gail Holt, Greater Patchogue Chamber of Commerce, 15 North Ocean Avenue. This Thursday on the 14th, we are finally getting to the grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony for Wisteria Lane and the Cheese Patch. It's at 5 p.m. and everybody is invited to attend. We were snowed out at one time, so now we're finally getting it. It's this Thursday. And then this weekend, we start the wearing of the green. On Saturday, the Business Promotion Group is having a scavenger hunt from 11 to 3. It's for adults going with clues, going to different businesses and finding where they following another clue to find where the pot of gold is. And then on Sunday, we have the 5K May the Road Rise to Meet race. Starts at 12:20 p.m. and everything is starting at the corner of Route 112 and East Main Street, and it heads west to West Avenue. And the children's fun run is at 12:25, and then the parade with our Grand Marshal Michael Rapp starts at 12:30. On Wednesday, March 20th, we're celebrating the 90th anniversary of the Chamber at Lombardi's at the Bay from 6 to 9, and we hope to see you there. And on April 18th, the Brookhaven Chamber of Commerce Coalition, we're having our award ceremony. And Harold Trable is the Patchogue Member of the Year, so we are honoring him as our Member of the Year on the 18th. I did have one thing, one of our members asked me to speak to you with parking, and it's Dragon Palace, who's having great difficulty. She has a small restaurant, and she does a lot of her business is people coming to pick up, and she has delivery. And on Fridays and Saturday nights, it's nearly impossible. People are turning away. They come to pick up orders, and there's no place really for short-term parking that is being enforced, that her customers can go. And then the other problem is she has asked, I know she was talking to me, she really needs a couple of spaces just for people who are going in to pick up orders and come right out again. And then they also deliver. And when her truck or van goes out to deliver, they come back and there's no place for them to park. And then they can't even load up to go out again or wait 15 minutes until the next one. So she has asked me to mention that.
Yeah, what about behind there? Is there spaces, are there spaces roped off?
Not behind Joel's building, but actually behind like the old John's, the shoe store. There's a few
Carl
15 minutes behind Carl Lehman, there's a few 15. Brandy had come to me as well.
Okay.
And I know it's hard because if there's somebody coming from the north heading on South Ocean Avenue, there are two 15-minute spots already in front of the bagel store, which is closed. So we thought if they could try to get their people to know that those spots should be open. And then there are, I believe, one or two behind Carl Amers.
So there are also two on the row as well. Not
Yes.
immediately behind the building, but on the row there were two
Right.
ahead.
It's a matter of having enforcement for those, because I'm afraid that people come in at 5 o'clock at night and figure, your parking's only good from 9 to 5. Therefore, I can park there at 5 o'clock at night for all night.
Now,
I don't know,
Attorney Egan, could we consider putting things like, pick up only, kind of?
We don't have that provision under the code, but I think you check with Superintendent Dean, but I think he's had some success with the fine amount that's under there, or all times as well, those little flags that one of each side, all times.
Yeah, because maybe if we could add, at the end of that row, right when you pull into the parking lot, there's that row of spaces, maybe the last two we can make 15-minute.
Well, there are some, but it has to be enforced, and yes, maybe putting
With the
all
fines.
time and that they know what the fine's going to be, something so that customers, and she's not the only one, they all have problems, but we need something like that in some place where her van can come back, that she knows that there's going to be a spot for her van to come.
Well, I think people do recognize the 15-minute. I know I was at an event at the Elks Club yesterday, and a number of the guests came to me and said, I'm parked in a 15-minute space. Should I move it? And I said, yeah, you should move it because you can get a ticket. So I think people are aware of it, and you're right, enforcement is really the key here.
And I'm afraid there's nobody there that they can ask. You're just going, you're looking for a spot, and a lot of people really think that the parking hours, at 5 p.m. it's over. So therefore I could park
So
all
if
night.
We'll start with this. I can start
Posting
with
the
the signs
fine
tomorrow.
really helped in
Yeah.
front of Quench.
Yeah.
I wonder if we make
Yeah.
a
Fine
couple
helped in front of Quench.
Okay.
village resident-only spots over there. I know that all our customers aren't village residents, but they're always open the ones by the Emporium.
Yeah. Let's try adding the two at the end as 15-minute, because that's closest to their restaurant.
Somebody wants to stop by adding the fine and the all times.
Yeah, and the fine.
Let's do
What's the
that
fine,
first.
$150?
I'm saying on the existing spots, let's start with that.
Yes.
And then we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Thank you
That'll
very
help.
much.
That'll help them out. So can you just let her know?
I
that
will
we-
let her know because she has come to me and I know she's asked for help.
Yeah,
Let me try to.
and if she does see somebody's car parked there for an extended period of time, she should call code enforcement.
Okay,
And because that's the only way,
Yeah, it's
enforcement
hard.
is difficult because they don't stand there and wait 15 minutes to see if somebody moves their car. So we kind of rely on the vigilance of the store owners and residents to help out too. So we'll make that change, see what happens.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail.
Gail, what time was Thursday? This Thursday, is that 5 o'clock you said or 6?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. And I'm sure we're going to have some little cheese to taste. It'll be good.
Trustee Keys, I'm going to read my report. Let me do mine first, and then you'll go.
Bill the boss.
Only temporarily. I'd like to just once again congratulate the Patchogue Theater. If anybody was there on Thursday night, it was a packed house, 1,200 seats sold. The restaurants were packed. The theater made money, the promoters made money, the restaurants made money, and people in the theater were very happy to see Girls with Guitars.
Awesome.
Clerk Seal was there, and she can attest to what a great show it was. And again, thanks to JVC Broadcasting, 96.1 Country, for bringing those shows into the theater. They're doing a great job. They're good people, and they really have Patchogue in mind, and we appreciate the work that they do to bring shows in. And it seems that there's something going on at the theater every weekend and now during the week, so things are really doing well. And I think Trustee Keys was at an event this weekend, Patsy Cline show. And
I was going to mention that actually, Jack, the Josie Waverly, the Patsy Cline tribute. Now, I'm not old enough to have actually been able to see Patsy Cline live. I don't know, maybe somebody in the room is not me, but at any rate, and you don't even have to be a country fan, obviously, to like somebody like Patsy Cline, you know. But this girl was unbelievable. What a voice. It was a fantastic, terrific show. And it had a nice crowd, you know, not packed, but a nice crowd. And I would suggest that if, I think we should do what we can to get it back, and I would suggest that a second time around, I think she'd draw a bigger crowd.
yeah.
You know, it's really, you see video clips of Patsy Cline and anything, this girl was pretty good.
Good. So once
Very
again,
enjoyable
Patchogue
night.
Theater, they're doing a great job booking shows and bringing entertainment for people. And a couple people during the country show came up to me and really raved about the theater and Patchogue and, you know, how great it was. They went out to dinner earlier, and she lives in like Farmingville or something like that. It was Farmingville, and she was so happy that she could come out close by and go to a show and have dinner and have a night out with her husband and not have to travel far or spend a lot of money. So all those good things are happening in the village.
Jack, a couple of months ago, it might have been maybe like 6 weeks ago, we funded a business plan that was
Yes.
supposed to have been drafted. Has that been completed yet?
I believe it's almost completed. In fact, I was talking to Dave Knapp about it today, and he's waiting to see it too, because it's really, you know, to him. So once they complete it, I know that they had a few revisions and things like that, but you know, it's almost completed.
So we'll see a draft of that, or?
Yeah,
copy of
yeah.
that?
Once it's done,
All right.
we'll get a draft here.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'd like to request approval to go out to bid for the construction of a foundation on the west side of the 6th District Court property for the placement of the Carnegie Library. Let's talk about this for a little bit, and Attorney Egan, if you need to step in and help me out here. But it looks like that we're looking at early spring to get this done. Hopefully early spring, depending how quickly the wheels of motion can move. And we have an agreement with the library that the village will pay for the construction of the foundation, and the library will reimburse the village. I understand
Correct.
that?
The library will reimburse, the TriTech was under their original obligation, is going to pay for the construction of a slab basement and with minimal soil conditions. The village's obligation was to provide a property where the soil was already prepared, compacted, etc. As we know, the plan changed many times, and now it's on a county property. TriTech is still obviously committed to their construction of the basement. The library, much to the delight of historians, I think, has wanted to express an interest to build a full basement to preserve the architectural integrity of the property. So obviously TriTech will have what their construction budget is up to that amount, and any amount in excess of that, the library's agreed that they're going to pay for.
All right, so TriTech, their agreement was to build this, put the thing on the slab.
Correct.
And I guess stub in the utilities, and
Correct.
they're going to do that.
Yep.
And then the village will pay for it. And the reason why the village is going to do it is because it's less expensive.
Just easier in the transfer from the county transfer the property to the village.
Right, okay.
I'm sorry, but who's gonna pay the difference?
The library.
The library?
Yes.
Has there been any consideration of the water table there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're going ahead with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And all the tests are done, the ground, and it
The
came up.
library's engineer did.
Right, and there's no contamination in the soil and
No.
all that,
There
so,
was one oil tank that had been remediated by the county.
okay. And the county,
Yeah.
so, and then what is the county's obligation here? Just to get the ground ready?
To give us a clean slate on the property.
Okay, and what I understand is that they, all goes smoothly, they can start moving this into place in the summertime.
Yes.
Which would be really, really good. We want to get that moved in place, and the library's made a commitment to move on with the construction.
Absolutely. They're anxious to do it.
Good, good. So any questions from the board? So I'd like to request approval to go to bid for the construction of a foundation on the west side of the 6th District Court property for placement of the Carnegie Library.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. I'd like to request approval to reimburse Ryan Murphy for a training seminar at SUNY Stony Brook in the amount of $300. What is this?
He actually, it's an in-service training that he's required to do, and he paid for it himself, not realizing he was entitled to be paid for as an employee.
And we normally pay for that?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Request approval for Peter Sarich to attend a building officials conference in Liverpool, New York, April 1st to the 5th, in the amount not to exceed $1,500. And that's the same thing, required. Motion to approve?
Motion.
So you want.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Hilton. All in favor?
Aye.
Request approval to hire Cullen and Dynasty, LLP, to provide audit services for the year ending May 31st, 2013, for the village, including the Justice Court, at a cost not to exceed $28,000.
Which
We
is
know
the
what
same
the-
as last year.
The same.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Approved. Resolution approving the tax grievance recommendations by Assessor Carol Sweeney.
These are not the only ones, these are just the ones that were presented early on. So she's
Okay.
going through them in batches, so there'll be more.
It's a motion.
So should we put as presented on list or?
I guess that.
Yeah, as presented
Yeah.
at the March 6, 2013.
Yeah. Seconded by Trustee Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Approved. Okay, that's it. That's it for me. Trustee Keys.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, fellow trustees, ladies and gentlemen. Just one little public interest note, actually, first. I left out on the table outside some little wanted posters. Bob Clark's office, Legislative Clark's office contacted me, and he's sponsoring a food drive, still for post-Sandy victims. Non-perishable goods, toiletries, and that kind of thing. They can be dropped off at his office, and I don't know the closing date on that. I must have left my own sheet out there. But at any rate, if anybody's interested, I left some sheets on that table, or if you call us. My CDA report, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Last Thursday, we approved going out to bid for a contractor to prepare and install the wayfinding signs. Level G did their presentation here recently. As you know, CDA is working with bid, has agreed to pay for it. We expect that the completion of that project would be before Memorial Day. That's our goal. And we asked the contractor to provide a schedule. That would be part of the bid package, that we have to provide a schedule, and that they would be done by May 31st. CDA also approved the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. It's been some pretty tough and at times confusing times with CDA, because as you know, they rely so much on outside funding, federal and state funding, and you never know what you're gonna get, you know, until after you have to approve your budget. And I don't think schools work the same way, but, you know, last year we went, Don could say, we went up and down, you know, we were gonna get 200,000, then we would get 80,000, so it was a little difficult task, but Marion Russo and her staff worked very hard at ironing it all out and keeping the courses reasonable, and at the same time continuing to provide the service they provide. We, as you know, CDA is responsible for many projects going on in the village, in addition to the administrating our Section 8 housing. Speaking of which, one of the projects, the theater walkway, is the first big project for this season.
It's Section 8 now?
Well, we
Sound like.
that project is slated to start somewhere around March 25th. And that's expected to be a 3-week project. And Don, do you remember Marion said that the slabs would be available for kind of viewing in the library, in the little courtyard by the library? Do you remember when she said they would come?
When, I thought.
Yeah, was they're going to come here and do, at any rate, keep your eyes up when you look at the theater walkway. The contractor is going to leave some sample slabs there, so you guys want to take a look. And, you know, and I think they're going to present us with a kind of a presentation, sort of, as a courtesy. Not that we really have a vote on that, but they want to show us what they have in mind. If anybody has any issues with it, that would be the time to bring them up. As far as my DPW report tonight, this past Saturday morning, I know more than once over the last couple of years we've mentioned Sunset, Mapes, and Price, that area down at the end of River Avenue. And again, I repeat, I don't think anyone in the village has a worse condition road-wise, drainage-wise, paving-wise, than they have down in that area. We have a chance to get some real state dollars. We have to provide a cost-benefit analysis to the state to get that. And as you know, we approved recently the map and plan to extend the sewer district down there, and the road paving project, and a drainage correction problem issue. So we went down, spent a few hours down there talking to the people down at that area, and obviously they're very glad to hear what we'd like to do. It was pretty productive for us. We found out just what these people go through, how much it costs, how many times a year they have to pump their pools, how many days they go without being able to use a washing machine or even a shower because the water just keeps backing up into the house. You know, like one resident said, I really should be pumping more. I can't afford to pump more, so I have to avoid using my water sometimes for 3 or 4 days until it drains. So it is an extremely poor condition, and I think if we do nothing else as a board, we have to take care of that. It's a condition that can't be put up any longer. Those people deserve it, and as I said, I think it's probably the worst in the village.
You know, Joe, the information that you gave us 2 weeks ago, as far as the proposal for that project, it recommends that there's 2 areas where they recommend retention systems be put in. Because the water doesn't have any place to flow, and it doesn't get any head going nowhere, so it won't flow. But do you know if we're going to go ahead with those retention centers, or are we just going to do the sewer?
I don't know yet. I know that the design itself will show exactly what they intend to do, gutters and curbs and gutters and retention centers. Talked about road raising. I don't know if that's going to be, you know, a plan, if that's going to be a solution. You know, what's going to happen is, you know, they're still going to flood.
Well, that's
But the water will have a place to go once it floods. It's not going to sit, you go down there now, it sits there for days.
No, but if we put the retention in.
Right.
But I was under the impression it looked like that was on top of the plan that was already submitted. It was just a recommendation. But they did say if we don't do that, then they said while the road's open, while we can lay the pipe, that now's the time, even though it's going to take a lot of permits. And
Right.
one of them is the marshland on Tuttle's Creek.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that we're going to do, you know, full max to do it. It's a $2 million project probably. I'm under the impression we'll include all of that.
Because we own one of those properties, right?
That would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I strongly suggest we go ahead with that, doing that as well. The sewer pumps.
Yeah, we will, thank you. Also, I guess like every other department, we're in the final stages of preparing the budget for the 13-14 fiscal year. And again, looking at every way we can to keep costs minimal while still being able to provide the kind of service we do. you know, the downside of doing what we do, particularly through major storms, is that we really kind of beat the heck out of our equipment a lot of times. They're going nonstop, and those trucks are really going, you know, every day of the week. So there are some things that we definitely have to have just to maintain what we're doing. And obviously, you'd like to get the thing that would make it, you know, enable us to do even a little bit more. But we have, and when we all get together for the budget, I'm sure we'll find out how that's going to turn out. I'm requesting approval tonight to hire, I only got this about 2 o'clock this afternoon. I do have the gentleman's application here. I'm requesting approval to hire a part-time electrician at $26 per hour. About a year ago, I think it was, we did hire someone who, as it turned out, was unable to really do any work for us. He just was too busy, and he couldn't fulfill his end of the commitment. So we're just going to terminate our relationship with him. We'd like to hire someone else, Superintendent Dean knows, reliable, good electrician, able to work daytime hours, which is really, you know, certainly a plus for us. At any rate, I'm looking for approval to hire this part-time electrician at $26 per hour. Anybody interested in seeing his application, I do have it here. And that's
May I have his name?
What's his position? I mean, what's he looking to do for the village?
It's a part-time electrician, keep, I mean, just changing light bulbs, you know, and any kind of electrical work that we have one that we send out with cherry pick at night, and we'll go look, you know, again, he's a part-timer, he only gives us maybe 10, 15 hours a week, you know, when he can make it. So this isn't someone else who has more availability.
He's a sort of street lights and...
Anything electrical really that we need for, he's a certified licensed electrician, and to have him available in the daytime hours is really beneficial, because now he's right on hand. Joe's on the property. You know, anything that comes up last minute, he's there. You know. So we had two. It's just that one of them never came in. One of them never worked. So we still had a need for a second one, because the second one that we hired last year never really worked out.
So it's all in the budget.
Oh yeah, it's all in the budget. Yeah. His name is John Kramer. So that's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. And I'm also requesting approval tonight, this as well as not on your agenda because this was late. I'm requesting approval to go out to bid for contract to construct the new sewer system on Railroad Avenue. Remember, we recently approved the map and plan from H2M, having a map and plan made, and so we have that. And so now I'm looking for approval to go out to bid to hire a contractor to replace the sewer on Railroad Avenue. It's like a 6-inch clay pipe there that's been there forever, and it is getting used a lot more now in that particular location. So the need is there, and that money actually obviously will come from the sewer surplus money. I don't know the cost, but that will come from, you know, I don't have a ballpark figure yet because we haven't received any bids back. But whatever it is, that money will come from the sewer surplus.
So what are we requesting now, to go out to bid?
Go out to bid for contractor, right?
Now, does this service the Riverwalk?
This is directly across from the Emporium. I don't think that's the river.
Oh, Railroad, I'm sorry.
Railroad Avenue.
Oh, this is-
Yeah, I made a mistake. Railroad Avenue.
Your motion?
That's a motion, yes.
Second?
What is that section of the sewer service? I'm sorry.
Trustee?
I'm sorry, Billy?
What section of the village is that service? Just that Railroad Avenue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that. I don't know if I ever imagine
And that goes directly down to Hammond?
that. I believe it does, yes.
Do you have a ballpark figure on it?
We haven't gotten any bids back. We're just going out to bid for it, so I won't have a ballpark figure until we get the bids.
Oh.
I mean, the bids are obviously, we still have to prove that. Once the bids come in, we have to prove that
Right.
to do the job. So we're just looking to find out now.
I'll second that, Joe.
Thank you.
Second by Trustee Crean. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
That's all I have.
Thank you,
Everybody,
Trustee Keys. Trustee Crean.
Good evening, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Joe, the oncoming parade this coming weekend, I'd walk around Main Street a little bit over the weekend, and I'm wondering if we could really focus a street sweeper and get the you know, downtown all shined up and ready for the parade. So if there's a way in which we could commit some man hours to that during this week would be helpful.
Yeah, I would expect that Joe probably does have the schedule, but I'll tell him tomorrow.
Very good. Mr. Deputy Mayor, on my agenda, there's a couple of items that I'd like to just open up a discussion, and a couple of requests from the Greater Patchogue Chamber for events, one in June and then one in October, that at this particular point in time, I'd like anybody from the chamber to come up and talk about these events. And you know, we're looking to get a little bit more information and then also give you some directions. So I appreciate your comments
Good
today.
evening, everybody. My name is Lori Belmonte. I chair the Business Promotion Committee for the Greater Patchogue Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to do a nautical day weekend to tie it in with the Blessing of the Fleet, which is on June 2nd. We'd like to do a nautical festival on Main Street on June 1st from noon to 6 o'clock. We're thinking to have the pirates do a treasure hunt with the kids, having some boats displayed, maybe a clam chowder contest, really like a nautical theme. And then in October, a fall festival on the 26th from noon to 6. Have a hayride, pumpkin painting, costume parade, farm equipment, chili contest. That's it.
And that would close Main Street also.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board?
As far as the nautical festival weekend, we recently, and I believe Gail was there, had a meeting with the 5th Precinct as far as presenting them with a list of events that we had this summer. It was the Parks Department and Code Enforcement, Suffolk, and the Chamber. And we all were asked to bring a list of events that we had, some of them which were approved and some of them which were not. But my
These are
point
a little
is,
late in getting in, I know.
right, was that we've already had 2 meetings with the 5th as far as practically begging them to be able to help us with some of our events. They changed the starting time of the parade to better fit in with their shift times to cut down on their costs. And we also canceled 2 5Ks that we had coming up because they told us they weren't able to participate. But my point is that combined with closing Main Street on June 1st from West to Maple and the cost to the village as well, around $1,200. So that's what it costs us to close the roads for that amount of time. And also in fairness to the nautical establishments that are not going to be participating there, but are going to anticipate having their customers get to them, being the marinas, which could be launching boats and trailers and what have you. You know, I feel with the lateness of notice to us not being able to get it on the schedule for the 5th and for the constables, that my feeling is that we're not possibly able to do this event.
Okay.
That I know we've had a lot of discussions with the chamber, with Tommy, and you know, with code as far as exactly what we can handle and what we can't handle. Saying that, I feel that I can speak on this fairly, in that we've accommodated everybody, and that this is just going to be a little overbearing. How the board feels about it, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm very much in favor of the Halloween, and I think that'll be fun.
Any other questions?
Is this the first year that you were looking to do this
Yes.
nautical festival? This is the first year. Have you considered closing the street just from Maple to North Ocean and South Ocean? Is that, you think you would have enough room in that area to hold your event without, you know?
Well, I really didn't map it out yet because I was waiting to see if we could do it. And my only thought is that the chamber members that are on West Main Street, you know, I don't want them to say, well, what about us?
You know, just trying to think of what's on that end of town that might want to participate. Yeah, I you know, understand the sensitivity to all your members, but, you know, I'm in kind of agreement with Bill. It's kind of late in the season to start approving something right now for June 1st, and, you know, perhaps we can revisit this next year, but,
Okay.
at this particular point in time, I would hold off on that particular event. So it, so I guess we just really don't need to take any action at all.
Yeah, I'd just
right?
like to, you know, just agree with Bill and Jerry, the same thing, because I know in our last meeting with the Suffolk PD, they were reluctant to have any more events, any more street closures, things like that, because they're having problems with their, like you said, overtime and staffing, and, you know, stress on the department.
As well as we are.
Yeah, and as well as, you know, it's a $1,200 cost to the village. So I would, you know, agree with Bill and Jerry that maybe we can look at this next year, give
Okay,
it a little more
and
time.
how about the fall festival, or should I forget that too?
Let's see, the chamber's looking for a street closure for, again, from Maple to West Avenue from noon to 5 p.m. on October 26th. And this is the titling is the Halloween happenings. Now, this isn't, you know, your normal trick-or-treating
This
event.
isn't trick-or-treating. Trick-or-treating we're still gonna do on
On
Halloween.
Halloween
This would be
itself.
the Saturday before.
Mhm.
You know, would this be a parade or what's the?
Well, we're thinking to have the kids come in costume and maybe parade them up and down. Not really a parade with marching bands or fire trucks. We were thinking that. We were thinking a hayride, pumpkin painting or pumpkin decorations.
Would you have street vendors for this event, or is this something that just be from the
Not
business?
many, a
Okay.
few.
Do you want to approve this pending the approval of the 5th precinct and see how that goes, or do you want to?
I'd like to hear a little bit more of what the plan is, you know, myself. I mean, is this something that could be done in a parking lot? Or,
Well, I don't have a parking lot.
well, there's other, you know, spaces in the village that, you know, maybe we can.
Well, the thing is to do, we were thinking.
Or on the sidewalks instead of closing down the streets.
Or shorefront.
Well, this would be to benefit the businesses
Yeah.
on Main Street.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you come back with a more fleshed out plan of
Yeah.
what you want to do? It seems like it's kind of new and.
Well, it is, and it's the first year, we even contemplating
Yeah.
doing anything like this.
And it is October, so it gives us a little more time, and then, you know, I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we can, you know, go to the 5th precinct again for our fall. I'm sure we'll have another meeting with them as far as events
Yeah,
coming
we
up
have
in the
one coming
fall.
up.
Yeah, there's one coming up already, so maybe this could be put on that agenda
Yeah.
as, you know, future plans that we can talk to them about before we make any kind of decision
Okay,
about closing the streets again.
okay, so I'll come back at the next meeting with,
Yeah. Make sure you get,
A better plan.
you know when that meeting is with the 5th?
It's, no, I don't think so. Right.
It's what?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks.
It's a few weeks from now, so
So I
just,
will,
yeah, maybe you could, if you could get in touch with Trustee Hilton and, you know, drop me an email, so just to keep yourself in the loop on when that
Okay.
meeting's gonna be, and then you can present a real, a much more solid plan.
okay.
that's also something that I would imagine the Parks Department would like to get involved with.
Yeah.
You know, we've been looking to do something like that for a while.
Well, I have been too, in fact, over like the past 5 or 6 years, every time another village has a fall festival, I pull out the advertisement,
Right.
and I've been sticking it in an envelope, and this year when we were getting together for our yearly, what we're gonna do every month, I brought this up, and everybody was like, well, let's do it.
I know that Maria was talking to the Bellport Chamber about having a battle with the scarecrow,
Mhm.
that they do the scarecrow contest.
Right.
And for us to extend it here as well, and have a prize between the two villages. You know, just try to combine them, you know, Doug Stagwell theory, trying to combine.
Right.
No, Patchogue.
Okay, I'll shoot you an email in a few days
Right.
with a better I'll talk to some of my committee members.
Yeah, I think that'd be.
Okay, and I'll just tell them that the Nautical Festival, we have to wait until next year.
Right.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. And Lori, include me on that email as well. I'd be more than happy to be involved in the
Okay.
conversation and try and help out.
All right.
where I can, so. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Trustee Green. I'm going to read one of Trustee Devlin's on her agenda here. I'm going to request approval to accept the resignation of James Feltman from the planning board. Wow. Jim's been on the planning board for I don't know how many years. Do you have a letter or? Yeah. I'd like to read this letter into the record. Dear Mayor Panieri, it is with deep regret that I tender my resignation as a member of the Patchogue Village Planning Board effective immediately. Extensive travel has prevented me from attending all meetings, and it is unfair for the planning board to operate with less than a full contingent of members. I look with pride on the progress made over the past years as the Patchogue Village continues to revitalize, and I know that the village is in competent hands. My best wishes to you and the members of the planning board, and who have worked diligently to exhibit the highest ideals in their commitment to improvement. And we'll accept this letter with regrets. Jim's been a very integral part of the planning board for as long as I can remember, and has been responsible for a lot of good decisions here in the village of Patchogue. And we thank him for his service, and again, accept his resignation with regrets. Trustee Hilton. What's that?
Second.
Oh, second on that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? No opposed? Can't leave. Trustee Hilton.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, Patty, trustees, and guests. I'd like to, first of all, as Gail said, we're having the parade on St. Patrick's Day and the 5K. One of the reasons why I mention this is we need volunteers for to help us with the 5K. If anybody out there would like to help us with directing the runners, I believe we have registration covered, but mostly out on the course. You might be able to squeeze the t-shirt out to Keegan, I'm not sure, but anybody who wants to volunteer, please call the Parks Department, which is 475-4302. And furthermore, I'd like to request approval for the Puente Blanco Group to hold the annual St. James Festival in the municipal lot adjacent to Bravo Supermarkets on Sunday, July 21st from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. with a request to close Academy Street from South Ocean Avenue to Taylor Lane. I just wanted to point out that this is the same day as the music festival, which I don't see as being a problem.
The Great South Day.
Right.
Plus, it's an event that they've had for how many years running now?
Very successful.
Yeah, very successful.
At least 5 years.
Yeah. Is that a full motion?
That's a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none opposed, motion passes.
I'm just going to skip it around a little bit. Request approval for the Island Softball League to use our shorefront Pump House, Garcia, and Four Sisters fields for softball games from March to December, of which a more exact schedule is given to us. I just want to say that we collect $40,000 from Island Softball for the use of that fields. That's a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? None? Did you skip 3, Bill?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to do like more
Okay.
of mine. Request approval for ABA Sports to use Pump House and Garcia Fields for softball games from March to November. I just want to say that from ABA Sports we get about $10,000 for the use of the fields. It's much less usage than softball, and they don't use the lights.
Now, I know last year we had an issue with people hanging around late at night, possibly drinking in the parking lots.
Drinking, urinating.
Yeah. Yeah, has that been addressed with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but not salt, something we have to lean on. That
Yeah, okay.
Heavy for.
All right, so if you could just make sure that they're vigilant about that this year.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then, oh, it's motion?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Opposed, none?
And request approval for the PYAA to use the Pump House Garcia and Four Sisters Fields for baseball and softball games from March to November. Of this, the village donates the fields to the PYAA.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? None?
And lastly, one of the very reasons we renovated the 380 Bay Avenue was for, I'd like to make a request for approval for the PYA to use the Recreation Center for baseball and softball registrations on Friday, March 15th from 7 to 9, and on Saturday, March 16th from 10 to 12. That's a motion.
Second. Trustee Keys? In favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? None? How's it going over there, though? How's the staff like working in?
It's great. It's great. It's a little cold, but the heating system is computerized, and it's cranky. And it's delightful. The guys did such a great job in there, I have to say.
Yeah, what a difference, huh?
Okay, any other comments by the board? No? Public to be heard. Mr. Bojack.
Good evening, John Bojack, 8 Knoxon Street. I didn't want to let go past that there aren't any comments about the Carnegie Library. I think it's important what happened here today. Sense of history, as we all know, it began in the 19th century, the effort to have a library. It's now the 21st century, so it's good to see this is being preserved. In that basement area, because I know this because I had to make a presentation to the Suffolk County Legislature, that basement is so important historically because it was the incubator space for the entire Suffolk County library system. So like a little obscure fact, but a very important one. So it's good that the integrity of the historical integrity of the building, including that basement, which might also become a space for the Historical Society too, I hear, which will also be another plus for the village as well. So thank you very much for this effort.
And thank you for your efforts as the Friends of the Patchogue Library.
Thank you.
To help us move on. Anyone else? Roy?
I wear many hats here tonight. Larice Belmonte, 4 Harrison Street, but I'm actually here on behalf of the Colony Shop on Main Street. I just want to know who I call when, and this happened, this is the 3rd time it's happened, and thank goodness it did not happen when I had to open this door in the morning because I would not really have been happy. Vomit in the doorway.
I didn't mean to.
But who do I call to clean it? Because if it ever happens to me, that is one job I cannot do.
Well, are they vomiting in the parking lot? Is that where it's
No, the front door of my store.
front door?
Yes.
Attorney Egan?
Who's your landlord?
Yeah, it's kind of,
Well,
it depends upon what your lease says, you know, with your landlord. It's not really a, village doesn't normally go out and police the area like that.
I know, but if it ever happens to me, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep the door locked and go home.
Yeah,
Who's that?
it's just grotesque.
It is gross.
Yeah,
It's a hazmat though.
yeah.
But who do I call? And I mean, it happened next door to me too.
Who do you normally call when you have a problem?
Of that, my aunt is the lucky one to open up in the morning. To
What's your
find-
landlord?
Who's my landlord?
Do you employ your
Marty?
landlord?
No, she
Yeah.
doesn't.
I mean, that depends, you know, generally, you know, in the leases, generally it says if it's, you know.
No, we
lease,
sweep outside, so
yeah.
that would be our responsibility.
Yeah. A lot of times the landlord puts that responsibility back on the tenant.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm
You could always call
SOL,
me.
thank you. All right,
I mean,
it's
I
just,
mean, with the
you
village,
know, it's very gross.
I can understand, you know.
You know, I had, my neighbors on both sides of me have had issues, and I said, well, I'm going Monday night, and I'll express our concern.
I have 2 little children. Vomit is not something foreign to me.
I think you gotta volunteer.
The obligation is the obligation is the landlord.
Yeah, Chip would. Yep. Well, it wouldn't really be the villages who are cleaning up that. I mean, it's grotesque, I have to say. It's not limited to the village.
It's,
My old office is 475 East Main Street. When it was outside of the village, you wouldn't believe what was outside.
I guess I can believe
And it
it,
was,
because I mean, we find very strange things in the front and the back, but I mean, to me, if they're that intoxicated where they can't walk 3 doors down without vomiting, they should have been cut off a long time ago.
Yeah.
I know we have Ryan, when does this happen, like on weekends? or
Well,
mostly?
my aunt opened up Saturday morning, and that's what she opened up to.
I don't know. I mean, it's really not the village.
Right.
All right, well, at any rate, the problem is still happening.
Yeah, all right, well, it's something to know about, because I haven't heard too many reports of vomiting. I've heard reports of other
Yes.
bodily fluids being spent on the
Yes.
sidewalks. But,
No. This is the 3rd time it's happened to me. I mean, not to business, not me personally, because like I said, I've been calling every call.
Do you, any idea what establishment they were coming from? Probably not. I mean, that's.
I can take a
suspect.
guess, but I would never point a finger without knowing for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Well,
could be.
was it Mexican or Italian?
It all looks the same.
No, I was sure we could narrow it down a little bit for you.
I wasn't there to
So we
witness,
know,
so I don't
and then
really
we could
know.
also find out if it came out from outside the village, because maybe the village isn't responsible for it. It's gonna come from Medford. This is ridiculous to think that we're gonna clean up vomit.
But I don't think the store owner should have to do
Well, I
it
agree
either.
with you. Nobody wants to, but for the taxpayers, to think that we're gonna send somebody over on a Saturday, right,
Saturday.
to clean up vomit. is-
The cleanliness of these sidewalks are the responsibility of the landlord
The
property
business
owner,
owner.
just like
100%.
Just like snow.
from Daughter Road.
Correct. Just like snow.
That was nice.
I'm sure it's not from Salem.
Or Bellport. All right, thank you.
Good luck.
It's not fun.
Anyone else? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.